is a movie, and we'll talk about this first before we get into the movie, that never knew exists. Never heard anybody reference this movie. Didn't know what the fuck it was. I searched for the movie on Google and pulled the poster up, and I was not impressed with the poster. I was like, hey, goddamn, what the fuck is this? But I've got to say, from the opening seconds that this movie came on, I was intrigued. And it was one of those movies that continuously kept building up and building up. And man, I don't know if I'm over hyping this, but this is one of those movies that we were talking about. There's nothing like the first time you see a movie like this because it's something that hits you totally out of left field. You're not expecting it. You don't know what in the fuck it is. Like I think Madman was one. Now it's not like Madman at all, but that was something that we talked about. Like the first time that we saw something like that, and we were like excited. You know, that was kind of the feeling I got when I watched this movie.
Builds into a crescendo. Yeah. No, like I got a whole bunch of thoughts about this movie. Number one is I can't believe that we've never heard of this movie. And as long as we've been doing this show, I don't think anybody has ever talked about this movie because I don't remember it.
Mhm.
I don't remember anybody ever referencing this movie or anything like
No.
that. It's a 1961 movie, so you would think somebody at some point would have been like, you know, yada, yada, yada. But I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, it's insanely British.
And we're from Eastern Kentucky.
And we're from Eastern Kentucky. Number two, like I was watching it and I couldn't help but think like the immediate thought that came into my mind when it started playing was like this would be what like if Mary Poppins had a ghost. Like this would be like what they would be like. Because that woman is exactly like everything about her, the way she talks, the way she dresses, like everything. So essentially, like the plot is that this woman gets hired to be what do they call them, like a headmistress or some sort of
governess. That's what they call it in Britain.
And to take care of these two children and go to this like remote kind of castle to take care of them. And she's joined by this, I don't know, it's like a maid or servant or something like that who's up there.
She's pretty much the only other adult in the movie. I think briefly they show somebody else, but I don't know who the hell that is. Other than the spirits, we'll just say that.
Yeah. Or so you think. I still am not entirely sure, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like Rowdy Roddy Piper. Just when you think you've got the answers, they change
the questions.
Yeah.
So it starts off, and nothing's really going on. She's just kind of taking care of the children, and they're playing little games and stuff like that. And then she starts to see like little things around this castle. It's basically a castle. I mean, it's like a huge cottage style house. And like she sees somebody off in the distance, and then she sees somebody like on top of like a roof. And then she sees somebody kind of staring at her through like a window at one point too. So all these things, she's like, you know, asking other people, are you seeing this? Like what exactly is going on? And yada, yada, yada. And basically the tension just kind of builds from there of her trying to figure out like what exactly it is that she's seeing and what role that these children have in what she's seeing as well. Because, I mean, she's got a theory about it. I don't want to give the theory away because I feel like giving the theory away about what she thinks is going on kind of gives away the whole.
And I would feel bad about spoiling. And Matt, we're not going to spoil this movie for you, even though it's a 60. Goddamn, how old is this movie? 63-year-old movie at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, 62.
But it's one of those movies, though, man, that nobody. I feel that there's not a lot of people that's seen this. Now, this is kind of a ghost story, haunted house type deal. And what's really crazy is it's sandwiched in between two haunted house classics. 1958, The House on Haunted Hill. 1963, The Haunting.
Yeah, which is what it reminded me of in a way.
Yeah. And man, it is every bit as good, maybe even better than those movies. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen, especially House on Haunted Hill, the original. But like, I think that there was some hokiness, especially in that one.
Yeah.
That
Well, that's a William Castle film. There's going to be some fucking.
yeah, but this one for 1961, some of the shots in it, man, and like I said, the mood from the first second of the movie, which features a song that I have ready on here. I wanted to get
Oh,
people
God.
give you an idea because the movie opens in complete black. There's nothing for like what, probably the first 30 or 40 seconds of the movie. And then it's a song that was made for the movie. I was looking it up because I was thinking, well, maybe this is some old fairy tale type, because that's what it sounds like, type song. But it was made for the movie, and it is creepy as fuck. And I definitely wanted to.
It is.
The name of the song is "Oh Willow Wally," and it's from The Innocents. Let's listen in, Uncle Bill, and scare the shit out of people.
Lay my love and I beneath a weeping willow, but now alone I lie and weep beside the tree, singing, "Oh, willow, waily," by the tree that weeps with me, singing, "Oh, willow, waily," till my lover returns to me. We lay, my love and I, beneath a weeping willow, but now alone I lie. Oh, willow, I die.
So yeah, I
Oh,
guess that's good.
willow, I
And it opens like, isn't it 20th Century Fox logo opens in black and white while the song is still going on too, and that's kind of odd,
That
I
is, yeah.
thought. But yeah, I mean that's the opening seconds of the movie, and I mean to me, I thought that that was creepy as fuck.
See, here's the thing about this movie, too. It starts off on that note, on that kind of atmosphere, and it never really deviates from that. Like the whole movie is just this really uneasy kind of experience, and it really is to me about the acting in the movie. So 61, people are still kind of like there's still a little bit of overacting, and there's still a little bit of like the enunciation and stuff of everything is really like hyper throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
But and if you weren't born around that era like we weren't, like it's kind of disarming to hear some of that stuff. But the acting is kind of universal because it's just really nuanced and really good. Like you can see her kind of get uneasy, but also trying to like keep it together and thinking that maybe it's just, something in her head. And every time something happens, the maid is there to kind of like try to explain it away and, make it seem like nothing's going
Right,
on.
she's the voice of reason in the movie,
Yeah.
the only voice of reason, and the kid actors in this movie are fucking amazing. Both of them. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
I
they
don't
are.
think you could. I really don't think you could hire kids that would do that good of a job today. I really don't, and not be annoying.
It's kind of bizarre because, kids around that time period are not really known for like their acting chops. You know what I mean? Like it was hard to find really good kid actors of that age around that period of time. But
So
yeah,
the
they're basically like adults in this movie,
right.
which
I
makes
mean,
it.
then they're central characters in the movie as well.
Yeah.
So without giving too much of the story away, but there are apparitions in the movie, ghosts, or so we think. I'm not going to say whatever. The visuals in this fucker is insane. Some of the stuff that they did. There's a scene by the lake there where I don't know if Black Sabbath was inspired by that movie to kind of recreate that scene, but that instantly reminded me of the first Black Sabbath record, the cover, right? The female, I guess the witch or whatever. It looks just like it and insanely creepy. There's nothing like jump scares or anything in this really. It's all very subtle.
Yeah. That's the
And
one big difference between this and most like haunted house kind of movies is that there's not really any jump scares in this movie. Like nothing comes out and like jumps out at you or like I don't think that happens one time.
a movie that it kind of reminded me of, and it's way older than this movie, but Criterion released it as well, and it's one that's kind of similarly made, I think, and that's the Uninvited from 1944. It's another
Yeah.
haunted house
Yeah.
movie, which is another high recommendation. That's one that I want to check out again soon. But it's in the same vein as that. I want to watch this movie a few more times, honestly, but I don't want to burn myself out on it. I think it's something really special, and it's kind of surprising that there's not that many more people that reference it. When the movie was initially released, and we're going to talk about some of the backstory. I know Kelly mentioned that it is based on a short book called The Turn of the Screw by Henry
Mm-hmm.
James, and it's had several different adaptations. Most recently was the Netflix series The Haunting of Bly Manor, which was another adaptation of this same story, right?
And like when you were saying that, you told me this earlier, and I was like, I knew it was because there's a point in the movie where somebody says something about Bly or Bly Manor, or they say something referencing the house, and I was just like, yeah, this is what that's got to be based on. Like, there's no way. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what. There's so many different things to talk about in this movie that, like, I don't know how much you could really talk about without giving away like the central plot of the film.
You could talk about cinematography too. It's beautifully made, man. Maybe one of the best looking black and white movies
Yeah,
that's ever been filmed. And I
and
know that I'm putting this over like crazy, but it's
well,
true.
no, I mean you're right though, because there's a lot of shots in this movie that I think were probably way ahead of their time too. Like in terms of there's some like um, shots the way that they film like two people in one frame, where like one person's in the front and one person's in the background, like in the same, and they're kind of tilted slightly like away from each other, like when the maid and the governors are talking to each other. There's a lot of wide angle stuff too that's like reminiscent of shit like John Carpenter would do almost, or I guess John Carpenter stuff is reminiscent of what this guy would do. But anyway, um, and yeah, William on here mentioned this too, and I knew that when I was looking at this kid, I was like, that's the kid on the poster. Like when you see the poster of Village of the Damned, the kid that's in the forefront is that fucking kid. Like that's in this movie. I was like, that's got to be him when I was
Mhm.
watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great little actor, and the kid's name Miles in the movie, which they're brother and sister in the movie. And man, like there's just so much to talk about this movie, even without giving it away. But I mean, why do you think nobody knows about this movie, man? What is it like? Why does everybody talk about The Haunting and House on the Hill and everything, and nobody talks about this one?
Maybe because it doesn't have a definitive ending. Like the ending of this movie is not,
It could have
and
had a
by
better ending. Yeah.
but I kind of like the ending though because of that. I'm just saying that like they never okay, so the whole part of the movie is you're basically as the audience trying to figure out, is this woman crazy or is she like really seeing ghosts? And to be honest with you, like I didn't there's at the end of the movie I didn't really know. Like there's not a definitive answer to that question. Like I mean, I guess I kind of like went one direction with it because of like some of the things that happened at the end, but you could interpret it like any way that you
Hmm.
wanted to really. And that's the genius of this movie is that anybody that watches it's going to pick up on other things that somebody else wouldn't have. So, they're going to see things in it that maybe not there or like interpret it in like their own way. it's like this movie is way ahead of its time in a lot of different ways. The fact that it didn't get really, really popular is kind of baffling to
I
me.
saw something, and I don't know if this had an effect on it. That when it was initially released in Great Britain, it was rated X. So how many people got to see it?
Why in the hell was it rated X? Ain't nothing in it that's
I have
like,
no idea. I mean, who knows? With I think over there in England, there for a while, they had a hard time with movies and stuff. I can't think of anything that was in it, but I had seen something about that. I think on Wikipedia. I don't know if that's true, but like there was, I think that this movie went places that not many movies went at that time. And like you were saying, a lot of the stuff I think it may have been some of the first movies to ever, or one of the first movies to ever do some of the stuff that we see in this. It's set in the 1800s as well. So it's a movie from 1961, but it's timeless because of that.
yeah,
So it could be a movie that's made today, aside from it being in black and white, because we're too good to shoot movies in black and white now. Uncle Bill can't do that.
yeah.
But man, this is like one of the movies though, and we've talked about these before. You only got one first time from watching a movie like this, and you definitely remember it, and it kind of gets you excited. And I
I
couldn't wait
mean,
to talk about this one.
I want to put like what would you say, like an advisor, a disclaimer. That's what I'm looking for about watching this movie. So there's a couple of things before you go into it, because we're really hyping this movie up. And I just want you to not get too excited because number one, if you're not into
My
black and
wife
white,
thought it was stupid. She didn't like it.
exactly. There's people that if you're not into black and white, if you're not into films with like a lot of like pace, like slow pace and like atmosphere and things like that, if you're not into overly British like dialogue and that kind of like Mary Poppins s kind of enunciation stuff like that, it's going to be a hard watch. But if you can get past that and just like focus on the actual acting and the storytelling and like the cinematography behind this movie, I mean, it's got to be up there with like some of the best horror films from that time period anyway, for
I
sure.
think so. I think it's right up there with The Haunting and House on Haunted Hill and The Uninvited. It's right in that vein. So, Matt, if you're a fan of those movies, this is one. Yeah, he says he's going to get it in the next Criterion sale. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in picking it up as well, but I don't know if I want to wait until maybe a 4K of it comes out because I can only imagine what that would look like in 4K.
Yeah, I mean, it's an insane. It looks great in just a regular like HD that's in now.
Yeah,
Um,
it's on YouTube, by the way. If anybody wants to watch it, the Criterion, it's in HD Criterion print. Somehow it's fucking on YouTube. I don't know how, but some fucker just uploaded it. So if you want to check it out now, you can. It's totally free.
Insanely good movie though, and like um, some of the scenes in this movie should be iconic and they're not. And I'll never understand like why that is. Like because some of the shit that got to be iconic is kind of hokey, and this movie is not in any way hokey. As a matter of fact, some of the stuff that happens in this movie, like I'm pretty sure influenced movies like all the way up to The Conjuring. Like just just straight ripped off some of the shit in this movie.
The others,
The others, yeah.
and this is one that it gets probably the highest recommendation from us, I think. And
Oh, by the way, did you notice this too? Talk about a character arc in this movie. There's a great character arc with the governess in this movie. So she starts off being like very kind of like chipper and bubbly, and she just can't wait to like take care of the kids. And then slowly as the movie wears on, like she just gets like more and more kind of paranoid and suspicious and just her whole thing, even the way they dress her changed. I don't know if you noticed that too, but like she starts off in all these like white kind of like bright colors, and by the end she's dressed in like all black with like this big black, almost like a dress you'd wear at a funeral or something like that. And I mean, all that's kind of leading, it's on purpose and clearly leading to like the center plot of the movie too. But I just liked all of that that they put together with the movie.
The actress's name is Deborah Kerr, who does a fantastic job in this. Definitely have to put her over, but she's been in a ton of stuff, a ton of classic films. Black Narcissus is a pretty huge fucking movie. It says that she was in that. So she's been in a lot of stuff, but you could tell, yeah, she was a very talented actress for sure.
Yeah.
And, man, like, it's sad too, because they can't make movies like that anymore. Think about it. It just, no, I mean, even if a director had the talent to make something like that, they would not be allowed.
Yeah. I don't know. It's well worth a watch and probably worth buying, I would say.
My recommendation, if you guys are wanting to watch it, if you can't wait, I can definitely understand. This is a perfect movie to watch on Halloween, I think.
Yeah.
A fall day, watch it in a dark room. Watch it alone. This is one of those movies that you would probably, that it would benefit if you watched it by yourself in a dark room.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those types of movies, man, where like you could seriously freak some people out, like if they're not into horror and stuff like that with this movie, because it's very jarring, to say the least.
So yeah, that is The Innocents from 1961. I don't understand why it's not, I mean, it's on some lists. I did see where I think Entertainment Weekly had it as the number 2 best haunted house movie of all time or something like that. So some people are giving it some love, but man, I mean, it's kind of unknown, I think.
Yeah. It's really hard to understand like how like we're in like horror circles and stuff. Like people talk about movies with us all the time, and to just never hear of this movie is
just thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I don't care. Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
Hey everyone, it's Oak Early Jaws. We got some great shirts for you. We got Faces of Death Part 2. We got Creepy Stories to Tell in Kentucky. The Colonel Would Approve. We also got deadpit.com. We got Dead Pit Radio with the little fucking Dead Pit dude on there. We got It Never Ends, a Halloween spoof parody of the new movie. We got It at Night. We got the Rat Pack, Uncle Rat himself. It just gets better and better, so go on and get you some shirts over at Team Public. It just gets better and better, boss.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DeadPitOnPatreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.